What is up, YouTube? We are back with another reaction video. Today we'll be reacting to My Upstairs Neighbors Won't Stop Cracking. Let's get into it. That's a crazy title.
I'm dealing with a bit of a sticky situation, literally, because I might have the worst upstairs neighbor in history. Let's take it back to January when I first moved into my apartment. At that point, I didn't really know any of my neighbors. In fact, I had no clue who was living above me. It was a chill time. I had no complaints, but then
That's really a bad first look for your new neighbor. Is crazy. Like, if I'm moving into a new house and then my neighbors are just loud as hell, genuinely, I would regret living in that house, bro.
I started hearing things. The only way I can really describe it is that it was
At that point, I know I'm pausing already, but at that point, I would just wear headphones to sleep, gang.
like a rhythmic squeak.
You gotta report that. No, you gotta report that. Yo, that's actually crazy. You have to report that. Yo.
At first, I thought the person who lived above me was
what type of living conditions is bro in, yo?
their house, and that was the sound their scrubber was making. I was like, man, these people are really neat freaks, cleaning their house every night. Oh. Even though I had my suspicions, I didn't really know exactly what was going on until I finally got a glimpse of my neighbor. As I was coming back from running errands one day, I saw him leaving his apartment, and it was just like a college-age dude, except he was with his girlfriend, and I was like, oh, that's the scrubber. Actually seeing them basically confirmed my suspicions, and
they probably making some suspicious content. I'm not gonna hold you.
all I really wanted to do was recommend the guy get a new mattress, and at that point the sound didn't really bother me too much because I would
all day is crazy. Damn, they really getting active.
only ever hear it like late at night, and usually I'd be asleep or out, so it wouldn't even be that common of an occurrence. And even when I would hear the squeaking, it would only happen for like 30 minutes max, which W stamina. So this would go on
What you mean W stamina? What?
for a couple months. It was a pretty cordial, respectful relationship with my neighbor. I'd give him a nod whenever I saw him, and we never really had any problems. He was this Asian dude, probably went to UT. He seemed like about my age, and he had this alt goth
Ain't no Asian to get freaky like that. That's crazy.
white girlfriend. So bro was living good, and again, I had no problems with them for the first couple months. But then I started hearing things, and it escalated a little bit. Now, if you watched these two videos that I made like a month ago, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because while I was recording those videos, I started to hear giggling and rhythmic thumping coming from above.
no.
Now, when it was the squeaking sound before, I gave it a pass because it was late at night and wasn't too distracting, but dude, this was at like 3 p.m. I'm in my room trying to record videos. Meanwhile, bro is going crazy upstairs. Like, congratulations, but I'm not trying to hear that, bro.
30 minutes every day is crazy. Your work. Wait, I just realized that.
I would
crazy
love
work.
to go my whole life without hearing anyone else other than myself cracking. I was furious, and I knew that I had to plot my revenge. So a couple weeks ago, a girl came to stay over at my apartment, and obviously I wanted to spend time with her and create some memories, but more than anything, I wanted to get back at my upstairs neighbor. So anytime we started to get
Yo, that's crazy. So y'all finna go band for band? Y'all finna go crack for crack? That's crazy.
freaky, I tried to direct the noise upstairs. Part of me wanted to get a stick and like start banging on the ceiling and be like, hey, you listening up there? But somehow it got even worse. About a week ago, I was chilling in my apartment and I started hearing barking.
Y'all ain't finna see that. No free promotion.
It was so loud, I thought it was like 3 dogs, and I figured people were walking their dogs like right outside of my apartment. But after like 30 minutes straight of barking, it kind of died down and I figured it was nothing. But then the next day, it happened again. Except this time, it was longer than 30 minutes. It was like an hour straight.
An hour?
I started to
crazy. An hour?
confused. I stepped outside to see what was going on, and there were no dogs out there, but the barking still continued.
Oh. Are they having intercourse with dogs? Wait, what?
And then I realized that the barking was coming from above, and I was like, oh, I guess bro got a dog, but why hasn't it stopped barking for the past hour? I went back inside and started to do some work, but I couldn't focus because the
why is his neck looking like that? He's an SCP for that. What the hell?
Barking would not stop. Like, literally, it was every 5 seconds. Eventually, I had enough, and I had to tell him that his dog was being way too loud, so I walked upstairs, and I knocked on his door, and no one answered. But the dog was still barking like crazy. Then I kind of realized, like, oh, I guess the dog just has super bad separation anxiety. So I was just gonna wait until he got back and politely tell him that his dog was barking too much and probably just has separation anxiety when he's gone. But right as I was about to leave, I noticed that his blinds were open and I caught a glimpse of the dog from outside, and it was a big dog and it was in a cage that was barely big enough for it. So I was like, oh, that's why it's barking. The dog was probably anxious from a combination of separation anxiety and claustrophobia, and I get that people need to put their dog in a cage when they're gone, especially if it's untrained so it doesn't destroy their apartment. But I was waiting for my neighbor to come back so I could go upstairs and tell him that his
too busy cracking. They can't even get it a better cage for their big ass dog.
loud, but bro wasn't gone for like half an hour or an hour. He was gone for like 6 hours. Imagine 6 hours straight of this dog constantly barking and wailing. I couldn't focus anymore, so
that dog is fake. Why is it barking so much, bro? I know it's something about anxiety, but damn.
I literally went to a coffee shop to do work, and when I came back, he was still gone and the dog was still constantly barking. Eventually, at like 9 p.m., I noticed that the barking stopped, and I checked outside and his car was in his spot, and I was like, finally. So I walk upstairs and I knock on his door, and he opens it, and I'm like, hey bro, I live right below you. I just want to say I have no problem with your dog, but I just think it has really bad separation anxiety and it starts barking a lot when you're gone. If there's any way you could find a way to make it be quiet when you're gone, that would be amazing. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's my girlfriend's dog. I'm just keeping it here for the week. I'm gonna try to make it be quiet. And I'm like, okay, thanks.
That dog's schizophrenic as fuck. Oh my god, what happened to my voice? God damn.
Then I go back to my apartment and I consider the situation dealt with. Except guess what happens the next day? The dog keeps barking, except this time it was for like 10 hours straight. It literally woke me up in the morning, and I immediately went upstairs to tell him the dog was barking too loud again, but of course he wasn't home. And I didn't really know what to do because my apartment complex has really strict rules about pets, and since his girlfriend's dog was probably not registered, if I snitched, he might get like really bad repercussions and possibly lose his lease, and that just felt too harsh for me, but I was also really annoyed. So like every hour on the dot, I would go...
At this point, you should just snitch, bro. Like, there's nothing else you can do. Like, I am not living in those living conditions. I'm definitely snitching. I'm not gonna hold you.
Upstairs and knock on his door to see if he was home, and of course he wasn't because the dog was still barking. And at like 7 p.m. I just had enough, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna write this guy a note and tape it to his door because there's something very ominous and authoritative about a note, so hopefully he would get the message. So I brought out a sticky note and I wrote this: the barking is getting ridiculous. Please deal with it. And then I went up, taped it to his door, and then went for a walk, honestly just to avoid the barking. And when I got back, the barking had stopped and the sticky note was gone from his door. So it looked like he returned and he got the message. And honestly, since then, I've had
Was he just doing it to rage bait? Like, I'm so confused.
no noise complaints. So remember, in life, if you can't solve a problem with words, solve it with a sticky note.
I guess that's the end. Alright. I'm out.
Sorry.
Don't gamble like that no more.
TJ on the beat.